Hi, so we start with today's session. So this session is this session today firstly is for all the candidates who are appearing this examinations, UPSC Civil Service Examinations 2024 interview stage. And essentially we know the schedule has already come out and we have the schedule till April, and the situation or the interview starts from 7th of January. So I'm Abhilash and I am a UPSC Civil Service Examination mentor. We will talk about myself while in the session we go on. But quickly, let's actually figure out what can be done in the next 4 or 5 days for candidates who are appearing this interview on 7th of January. Now, as far as certain implications, the first initial candidates who are going to appear the examination, they would not be, or the most of them would be like second or third attempt towards, or even more attempt towards the interview. They are not the first timers. There might be one or cases. So considering that the first 2 to 3 weeks includes candidates who are mostly repeat givers. So my session today will be designed mostly towards that what can they do firstly when it comes to giving the interview again in the repeat mode. So if you're watching me on the YouTube or on the Zoom session, you can just use the chat functions to let me know, or use my WhatsApp, the number you can just use that to let me know any challenges if you face in the audio. I'll just cross check once in YouTube. Just use the chat functions to let me know, or use my WhatsApp, the number. Okay, it is audible. And thank you for confirmation. So, firstly, you know, uh, this is towards the candidates who are giving it again. They are aware about the UPSC's the environment, exactly the environment, what happens. They have an experience, they have a mark sheet with them that what was their performance last time. और इनको ये भी पता है कि एग्जैक्टली होता क्या है व्हेन यू गो इनसाइड द वेन्यू, व्हाट आर वेयर द रूम्स, लोकेशन कहाँ पे है, आप कैसे अंदर जाते हो, आपकी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन चेक होती है, योर डॉक्यूमेंटेशन गेट वेरीफाइड, एंड देन यू आर told to take a seat in the waiting room, and in the waiting room then your panel is already mentioned on your document, and you are told that this is the room for your panel, and then you're served some tea and snacks if it's in the morning session. I mean, it's a second half session, then again you're served tea and snacks, and you know that these are the sequence. And in one lot, either 5 to 6 candidates are there in one panel. So this is something you're already aware of. Second thing, you're already aware about the architect of that particular UPSC room. So what happens is, the many of the times, like, the first thing is when you hear your own shoes noise while you walk, because while preparing for so many days you have forgotten how to wear a formal dress. The moment you wear a formal dress and you start walking in that corridors, you feel the difference. You feel that you are in a very spot which is not a casual spot but a serious spot. Now that can help you or break you. No matter whatever is your level of confidence, no matter whatever is your level of presence, if your mind starts taking burden or the pressure of performing in such a certain scenario, you are you will be like helpless. The first and foremost thing you need to tell yourself, even if it is your repeat attempts or first attempt, however, that today is my best day and I'm going to face it the best version of myself. You have to stay as relaxed as possible. You have to consider yourself like, I am well prepared. Whatever and however question comes, I can definitely respond them as professionally as possible. Not right, not wrong, or there is no as such like, objective there. There's not a quiz show going on, but they are trying to judge you or they are trying to understand you, your impression in that particular 30 minutes of conversation or interaction. So I will keep myself in today's session. One part of the session includes all the do's and don'ts of the session, all the major challenges one faces, and then that will be live in the YouTube. And then the second part of the session for candidates who are appearing on 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Certain, I have a way of looking at the current affairs that I call them as perspective matters. And here we kind of discuss on the roundup of whatever happened in 2024, some top headlines. And then we discuss exactly what should be your way of, approach towards understanding the topic or conveying the topic when it is asked from your, uh, maybe from your DAF, certain is relatable like that. So few things which we need to be very, very clear that all of you have submitted your DAF detailed application form, and those form has been filled by yourself only. You are aware about every word which you have written on that. Aware about it. Okay. Now, few things like everybody says, and you are also, when you are told to talk as a motivational speaker, you will definitely say this: confidence matters. What matters to have a self belief. You might have had multiple challenges in your own day to day life. Things would have gone as bad as possible, as worse as possible, even while going towards the examination. But that should not stop you from performing at your best level. Whatever this 30 minutes you are achieved today for interview is the effort of the last 2-3 years which you have put together. So please see that you do not undermine that and you give it your best shot, irrespective of what happens in that current scenario. Your mindset should be never to give up. Rise up, walk the way. Rise up, walk the way. There might be challenges. You might be feeling singled out. You might be feeling, many people come with this mindset of, astrological scenarios that, okay, मेरा शनि चल रहा है, मेरा planetary positions are not well. My father was saying that the Pandit ji was saying like this, graha anukul nahi hai. All that might be whatever, it is not in your control. What is in your control is to have trust and believe in yourself. So you need to be very, very sure about your own self and what you're projecting yourself in front of that panel. Somebody who is able to project himself or herself as it is will definitely find their name in the final list. But if you try to portray somebody else, if you try to portray a success story of a previous aspirant or similar story, or try to fake it during the, bluff it around, or you become, adamant and arrogant and do not understand the lines of professionalism, do not maintain the decorum, definitely, why would they want or encourage such personality in civil services of India to become a civil servant? When they panel actually is looking you for a career civil servant, they are not actually figuring out, okay, this is good for IAS, this is good for IPS, this is good for uh, IRS. No, 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 no. That ranking happens because of your examination mark, what you have scored in your mains, various other subject. When it finally comes, your category and everything. But the interview board is there to see whether you fit the job of a civil servant of India. All the services, you fit there. So with that kind of a mindset, the panel is sitting. And what they are going to look, imagine, is if you do not show any of those traits, definitely Your score in the, you might be a great guy, but when it comes to the score of the interview, it might not fit the bill of being a civil servant. So, which is also fine. Not necessarily everybody is built to become a civil servant. But why do you have put the effort to become a civil servant, studied so hard and qualified for your interview? And if you're a repeater, getting a second chance on it. So you should not miss the opportunity to at least see that you perform at your best during this interview. Now, there are a few techniques which I'm sure you would have read many places. One of them is mock interviews. Uh, okay, now I do personalized mentoring. I do not, I would say mock interviews are good, definitely. But when it comes to me, I do not, I do a one on one, but not a mock as such. My way of looking at the interview preparation is mostly helping somebody discover about himself or herself. And it is more of a very scientific approach towards, not just one interview or one particular session, but always how you can be best version of yourself. So my approach is a bit different, and it is more about interaction and conversation. But I would recommend, although seventh, eighth, ninth is very near, you may not get a chance to go to a mock now. And even if you go to a mock now, it may not help you to as much as it is required. But others, I would recommend, if you have some 10 days of time at least, you should at least go for a mock. So, it's a dress rehearsal. If you see any of the government programs, there is always a dress rehearsal, which is as good as the final day. It's a dress rehearsal to understand, to feel, to walk the path, everything as you are going to say. It's a simulation that, to what you are going to do on the final day. तो आपको मॉक इंटरव्यूज देने चाहिए. आप कोई भी भाषा में इंटरव्यू दे रहे हैं, आप हिंदी में दे रहे हैं, आप इंग्लिश में दे रहे हैं, आप अपने लैंग्वेज में दे रहे हैं, पर अगर आपको ये अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलती है, इफ यू गेट एन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू डू द मॉक इंटरव्यू, डेफिनेटली गो फॉर. वहां पे जो अनुभवी लोग हैं, पीपल, द बोर्ड, द पैनल, दे आर गुड इनफ टू अंडरस्टैंड what in 30 minutes, what kind of aura you carry in that room, what is your personality. Not necessary because we overburden ourselves with lot of information, lot of stories, lot of YouTube, lot of movies, lot of situations where we feel that things will be like that, similar to that. It doesn't matter, it doesn't happen like that. You have your own life, your own story. Same situation might bring out different personality or different thing for you. So there is a uniqueness altogether, and you should be able to live that. So mock interviews definitely you should give. And when the board or panel gives out certain suggestion, you should also answer, ask them, how do you implement, how do you actually include them in the stipulated time which you have. See, one of the most common reviews wherever I have been in the mock board and I have seen or given is the way the candidate uh, says no to an answer, no to a question, if they are not aware about the question. Many a times, candidates in their DAF write a lot of good things about their past and their stories, scholarship, gold medalist, this and that. Now somebody says he's a gold medalist in his graduation. And if the board asks a question about his graduation field and he or she is unable to answer, so he or she is first of all demeaning the gold medal they have got. Second, the academic excellence or pursuit seems like an accidental pursuit. So they are not able to carry off what they are writing over there. No, sir, bhul gaya. Now I don't recall. It's been quite long, sir. So what happens is the way to answer those questions are, you need to learn. Immediately, the moment you give up in these kind of interaction, I don't know, sir, I don't recall, sir. Sorry, sir, I don't recall. Why you don't recall? You have written yourself, you are a gold medalist. You are an engineer. See, what happens, our natural bodies, we don't want to answer, we are an uncomfortable zone, so we don't want to answer on that. So we try to avoid it. But the moment you try to do that, from the 5, 6 board member over there, they will immediately catch you on your feet in that time. And with that particular mindset, if you are giving an interview, you'll be always scared. अरे कहीं पूछना ले यार, इसमें से कहीं पूछना ले, मुझे नहीं बोलना. अरे करप्शन पे कुछ पूछना ले यार, मुझे नहीं बोलना. Things like that. So you need to be very clear how you handle such questions, which are most or are going to make you uncomfortable. One of the next technique is visualization. I also promote that thought becomes things. And if you are able to visualize your success, the mind or subconscious power of mind helps you to achieve that. So you need to be very, very positive and feel that whatever is going to happen with you is going to be amazing and will come out with a great positive outcome. It's going to be the best thing. So you need to visualize that. If you think, नहीं यार मेरे साथ कुछ होता नहीं यार, खाली बस मिनिमम मार खा जाए, किसी तरीके से हो जाए, बस बस यार, ये यार मेरा तो यार खोटा है यार, मेरा शनि ग्रह चल रहा है, मेरा तो वो चल. If you start thinking like this, there is no other way any positive force on the earth can actually change your fate. So you need to think and visualize in your own way that what exactly is you're going to want to achieve, or what you feel like, would be feeling like. Now, one of the most, or the for your mental well-being is deep breathing. The moment you feel that you are anxious, getting very much anxious, it's a yogic technique. And I would say if it works out, it works out for everybody. In fact, you take a deep breath and hold your breath for at least count of 3, and then exhale as much as possible. I can give a demo. You take a deep breath, hold it for count of 3, 1, 2, 3, and then slowly exhale. Repeat. Hold, 2, 3, exhale. You do it 3, 4, 5 times, you will feel more confident and present at that particular moment. What happens is हमारा mind, it keeps on making you run here and there. अचानक से future की तरफ जाएगा, past की तरफ जाएगा. It keeps you makes you unstable, as unstable as possible. So if you do deep breathing exercise, immediately then and there your anxiety will be arrested and you will be there in that particular moment. And then for certain affirmations that these affirmations are basically your own self-belief. You need to say to yourself, Abhilash, I am well prepared and I am going to perform the best. This is the best. Whatever is your name, I mentioned my name. So you keep on saying that, or chanting any, whatever is your strengthening way of belief. So you need to go by those techniques where you feel unperturbed by situation which is happening around you. So these are something we can, you can develop and practice certain techniques. Now the question for the session is, for my interview is scheduled from 7th Jan 2025. What do I do now? The first few things that I would want you to share is, number one, today only, open up your DAF, and each of the particulars that you have put, you see you are able to write 100 words. I mentioned write. आपको लिखना है 100 words. You have to write. Please do not just read it like this and do a Google search and over. No. Write 100 words. What are the first 100 words that comes in your mind when you read that particular sentence? For example, your school name. your college name. It might have somebody's Vishwasarya's name, it would be there. Your state, home state. What are the few things come? Your place of birth, your birth date, your hobby. So each responses which you have mentioned in your DAF are these are the first point of conversation. Any person reading from them would start with that. If you have written, okay, about chess, they will try to make you comfortable talking about chess. Okay, tell me something news about chess, which has happened lately. Gukesh has won the chess championship. His ranking, and he's a grandmaster, world rank one. So you need to compose yourself. Okay, he's talking about chess, so you need to answer things like that. And if you say, okay, my hobby is chess, but I am not aware of whatever current affair is happening. If you can answer that again. So hence, the first 100 words which you mention over here while preparing, preparing your DAF, it will stay in your mind. You can reframe them as per that particular question and response. तो ये आपको लिखना पड़ेगा. Once you write it, so tell me about yourself. Why don't you let the board know about yourself? Please introduce yourself. These are some first common questions. Or the next question comes from DAF. Okay, I've seen you have written this thing as hobby. Tell me on this. What is your thought on the current happening in this, whichever day you go? So if you're an engineer, if you're a particular engineer, say software engineer, they might talk about AI or software export. If you are a pipeline engineer, they might talk about pipelines and whatever is the recent visit in Kuwait visit of Prime Minister. So what kind of work powership or manpower skills are required in such nations which India is exporting? All this might come up from just your DAF and a keyword. So hence you need to first write on all the keywords which you have mentioned in your DAF. उसके बारे में 100 वर्ड आपको लिखने हैं और ये आपका प्रिपरेशन है. आप लिखोगे आज, आफ्टर दिस यू सी दिस सेशन, यू राइट इट टुडे. बहुत लोगों ने बहुत ज्ञान दे दिया होगा, आप लिखोगे उसको, आप लिखिए उसको. यू डू दिस, दैट इज योर फर्स्ट एक्शन. फिर उसके बाद लेट्स कम टू सर्टेन स्ट्रेटजीज की कैसे, हाउ डू वी एक्चुअली फेस द पैन. You are going on the next Thursday or Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, your session starts. So first and foremost thing, because this panel is of senior people who are senior civil servant or senior professional who are the nation builders from different services or academicians, they are a knowledge entity. And usually they are there to help you only. It's not that they're stopping you from, entering into the service. They're just trying to understand whether you fit the bill or not. So you need to see that every time you have a discussion with them, anything that comes from their mouth, you are able to hear it properly. What are they asking? What exactly is the question mark? What is the demand? What are they trying to tell you that you need to answer? If you are unable to clear that, you will not be able to answer properly. So take time and be a good listener. In fact, confirm again. Sir, may I request to please repeat, sir, I'm unable to hear it properly. Sir, I've understood this. Do you want me to answer around this? Confirm it and then go. See, you're already nervous. You may not be able to hear everything properly as crystal clear. Your own breathing itself will stop you from hearing to people. आपकी सांसें ऐसे चढ़ रही होंगी, आपको खुद ही नहीं समझ में आ रहा होगा कौन क्या बोल रहा है. तो आपको वहां पर रुकना है, आपको पूछना है कि क्या आप पूछना चाह रहे हैं मुझसे, किस चीज का जवाब दूं मैं, किस चीज का. तो आप उसे कंफर्म कीजिए एंड देन यू से दैट ओके. अगर आपको आंसर पता है, फ्रेम योर आंसर एंड रिस्पॉन्ड. अगर आपको आंसर थोड़ी बहुत पता है तो आप बोर्ड को पूछिए कि आप जिस डेप्थ का सवाल पूछ रहे हैं उतना डेप्थ का इंफॉर्मेशन मेरे पास है नहीं, अगर आप चाहेंगे तो जितना मैं जानता हूं मैं उस पर बोल पाऊंगा. I'm unaware of, and my information is limited on the topics which you asked. If you allow me, I can share my knowledge about the topic. वो बोलेगा ये आप बोलो क्या जानते हो, तो आप बोल दो. वो बोलेगा नहीं नहीं छोड़ो, लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. सो दैट इज वे यू एक्चुअली हैंडल अ सिनेरियो. फिर उसके बाद क्या होता है, सिचुएशन अराइज, आपने फ्लो फ्लो में बोल दिया, some गलती से you realize, oh my god, I put a wrong data. The other question, the other panel, they also don't question your data. They move on. But you realize, oh, okay, the data was not 70%, it was 60%. Let me correct it. Now, what happens is many time, many candidate, just because they now remember the right thing, they keep on thinking that in their back of the mind and continue the conversation. Now this creates a, this the confidence actually goes down, the energy goes down in the room because your mind is occupied in something else. So if you get an opportunity which is just after the question you have given, sir, I would like to correct the data, I just recall that the latest data is this, and they will say okay, sir. But if 4 or 5 questions have gone and then suddenly you want to correct it, that there's a silence, and to avoid the silence you say, sir, actually in the third question you asked me about this is the real data. The moment you try to correct over here, you're out. You have to then wait for the last question when it comes. Okay, do you want to ask the board something? Then you will say, sir, I don't have a particular question to ask, but I want to correct myself that the data which I pushed on that question was little old, actually incorrect, but I remember this as the data which I read through this. When I go, okay, fine. Yeah, maybe want one more question usko support kar. So that is the way. So your mind, or if you are not able to convey it properly, immediately, your level of confidence and everything goes back. Secondly is your professional dignity. Now what happens many times, you will realize, okay, the person is from my own town because of voice diction. Maybe has a Haryanvi touch, maybe has a Bengali touch, maybe has a South Indian touch. You start realizing, okay, he's from my place. And he is also trying to make you comfortable so that you sit properly and you are able to start you are comfortable in front of the UPSC board. Now during that entire process, what happens? You feel like, okay, now this is मेरा घर वाला है, मेरा तो हो जाएगा, and you breach the decorum. The moment you do that, you feel it is being very friendly. The board is very friendly, very friendly. Definitely, they are not your friends. They might be friendly to make you comfortable, but they are not your friends. They are the board and they are the senior most people in that arena there. So you need to behave properly in front of seniors. The moment you lose that and you become friendly, your voice, your tone, or your language, or your body language, everything shows up that you have become casual. So that will have a wrong impact. Then is your body language. So while I usually what I'm trying to say here is, if somebody has, you guys who have already done the interview would realize that many times that 30 minutes goes like within 5 minutes, the 30 minutes are over. And you realize it is already 30 minutes. But what I am trying to talk is about living the moment. Can you spend that 30 minutes like the way it is happening? If the 30 minutes goes like a you don't even realize. What happens is, because your brain is running so many things in parallel, apart from the interview which is happening, that you are unable to be at that particular moment. You need to be at that moment in front of that panel, understanding, conversing, and being yourself 100% there. You cannot imagine that कल को मैं बन जाऊंगा तो ऐसा हो जाएगा, मैंने तो उखाड़ दिया, मेरा तो खराब चला गया, अगला अटेम्प्ट लगेगा, अभी मुझे ये प्रिपेयर करना है, घर जाके ये करना है, ये परेशानी है, वो ये आएगा, उसका बिल लेना है। ये सारी चीजें अगर if these things bother you, definitely then you are not there 100%. You have to be 100% there in that particular room, physically and mentally. Only then you can converse with your lively energy. So these are few things which you can do in the next 2-3 days, keeping in mind. And then, yeah, few things to keep ready at your mindset level is to, see that you are logical in your answers, that you have certain, ऐसे मन में नहीं आ जाए, you have some backing why you came out with that answer. There will be situation type questions where they will try to put you in a situation that, where you need to think of multiple perspectives. You are going to be a civil servant, you are going to be a public servant. So no textbook helps you then and there until unless it's a textbook of law, where you have to understand where is your, I mean, till what you can do, use the law in favor, and where you breach the law. So बाकी सारी चीजों की आपको ट्रेनिंग दी जाएगी. You will be taught all things when you go to Labasa or when you go to your particular service. You will be taught about every aspect of it, which you are not aware right. But still, because you are a public servant, you should be able to understand that what is the kind of behavior, what is the kind of empathy that is required or expected by the people from a public servant. Do you measure up to that? They might ask you certain questions or of the current event or current activity, which might sound very, very offensive for being a current public servant. But if you have a right knowledge, if you have the right awareness about कैसे हुआ, क्यों इसने ऐसा step लिया, was it right or wrong, or what could have been done, that is where it shows your way of looking at perspectives. Current affair, yes, with your state and with your whatever comes in DAF, and you see that your answers are not like, you're not in a quiz show or you're not in a confession box. Like they are not asking your GK knowledge. They're asking you to knowledge so that they can start a conversation around it. So a few things is to stay positive, stay calm under pressure, and be genuine as much as possible. Another aspect which happens is stories of struggles. Now, many times people who are or candidates, they would have come from different background or have struggled a lot financially or personally or through mental challenges. And mostly, when you see those success stories in news item, they show that they come from a various diverse background and poor background, how they fought the poverty to become an IAS officer. Most of these newspapers cover themselves as rags to riches story. The success story are covered as rags to riches. We may get into the flow that okay, मेरा भी ऐसा कुछ है, मेरे साथ भी ऐसा स्टोरी है, मैं उसको ऐसा प्रोजेक्ट कर देता हूँ तो वो बहुत, they will get empathetic. Now, the session I'm talking now here is about such patients. If you are one of them who have struggled hard, who have made their path on the merit of their own struggles and hard work, how are you going to benefit, or how are you going to cash in from that? So there are a few thoughts to think. Firstly, you need to understand when can this be a, or how to talk about it. Okay, you cannot beg, you cannot take it as an excuse. That will demean the struggle which you have done. But when you are talking of a scenario like, okay, tell me how can you, something on the survival status, you can say that, okay, I have managed to find my own way through, scholarships and in my career and my professional life or my current life. So I understand what poverty means. I have seen it through close lens. So I can be more empathetic like that. Then suddenly is this is also not a place where you can talk suddenly that you are the hero. I've already done things. No, you are still in the process, so you should not highlight your much this thing that with so much of you do not know the person who is in front of you is a civil servant for the last 30-40 years. What was his or her background, how they have come through. If you try to brag about your story in that particular board member's place, it may not work in your favor. So you need to be very, very humble. And your humbleness is what, or your simplicity or humbleness is what will actually define your own character and personality. So you need to see that you need to avoid discussing all this thing when it sounds like an excuse or it becomes emotional. You start crying in the interview, or it's not a reality show. It's not a, as it comes in TV, that backstories are very, very painful, and those are shown in the show to catch eyeballs. Here, no one is watching you except the UPSC board members, and they have been public servant and they have been dealing with people like. So, do not try to take excuse or be emotional around it. It will backfire. So you need to see that whatever your situation has been in the past, maybe financially poor or maybe had family issues, how it is going to make you a stronger or a better person fit for the public sector. You can talk around that. So obviously I put an example in front of you that so that some or other way you can relate if you can. But each one of you would have a different story or a different situation. This is just for the help of making you understand what I mean to say कि क्या आपको अपनी मजबूरियों का इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए. Will they work as a trump card or will they make you fail, or how to use them. Now coming to the next session, some basics of ABCD of interview preparation. Everybody has to do this, and this is something called as practical knowledge, or I call this karyo upyogi gyan. So we can actually look at it. See, you need to understand why this is a board interview. Why अभी तक ये pattern रखा क्यों गया है? Why it is not one-on-one? Why it's a board interview? So it is not just about your knowledge, but your presence amongst a crowd of 5 people is what is also understood. The civil servant's role is not limited to one box or one laptop. It's a public facing role, and hence your requirement or your fitment to the role is gauged direct at the interview. Mock interviews, I mentioned you that you should take mock interviews if you have time. You should also see that you follow them, and wise men's institutes will always there to improve you from what you are today. You have to better yourself every day. Atomic habits, point one, like that. Your DAF should actually be something which you should know what you have filled in, why you have filled in, what exactly it can track to, it can start a conversation around every word which you have put in. And then current affairs which come from the DAF or on the top headlines of the which is happening currently, like that. Again, there is a pattern which we talk. This is a workshop kind of a scenario where how do you actually practice your answering? So it is called STAR framework. So you have to understand the situation. What is the task, situation, action, result? Then you have to frame out the task which we can do in that particular situation. From that task, what are the actions? Who are going to take the actions? What are the steps of the action? And then the outcomes. So these are some STAR framework, and now I think this is For example, a situation is asked like there is a road closure. People have gathered in front of the DM office demanding for extra wages. What is your, what will be your, how will you handle it? The situation is that people have gathered and they have stopped, not allowing people to move freely. They can go out of control. So there is a whole lot of dharna going on, lot of shouting going on. What are you going to do as a district collector? So in this situation, firstly, you'll have to see that how peacefully you can handle. That does not become the situation does not become violent. If it has to be, if it does not become, if it is kind of challenging the security, you need to reach out to report and reach out to your senior, take the permission for asking for police force, and then see that situation doesn't go out of control. Find the leader from their opposition, from the people who are with this thing, bring them on board of discussion, understand the concerns, list out what are the facilities you can provide and how fast a resolution can be provided or navigate a way out so that such crowd is dispersed peaceful manner and they come to a conclusion like that. So it can be a situation like that. So this is the star framework. So there will be questions which will be like purely opinion based, where definitely you need to see that you are a positive person and a nation builder. So you cannot talk about, human lives are very important. You cannot talk in a casual manner to certain questions when it comes to the dignity of the nation and dignity of the country. There has to be a fairness in your conversation, in your, I mentioned that logical reasoning behind why you came out with that answer. You need to be very clear. And if the topic is unfamiliar and you're not aware, do not just talk anything. Don't try to, fill in the silence with anything. If you bluff, definitely it will be caught. You feel that you have bluffed around, but come on, they are seeing many candidates like you. So if they catch you then and there, then it becomes embarrassing. But try not be as genuine as possible. Few things: dress professionally. I'm not saying wear all new clothes or dress clothes which are comfortable to you, which are professional. Your body language should be very very clean and clear and very formal. And don't show the nervousness on your face. As such, I said deep breathing technique, meditative technique. Use the voice modulation. Even if you're scared enough, your voice can be, your voice can show everything. If you talk in, little bit, in a modulated fashion, that every word which you are speaking, you can stress it and talk around it. The other person who is in front of you may be engaged hearing you. So use the voice modulation to your strength. So that was the ABCD of interview, and then certain thing which is interview D-Day readiness. 30 minutes pehle, 30 minutes before the interview, what should be done? So firstly, a quick review of your DAF, check your dress, ease out yourself in bathroom, see that you're arrived on the right time, there's no challenges that you face traffic, drink water, drink tea, practice mindfulness, deep breathing, and stay as calm as possible. Try to follow or try to see the scenario. Don't engage in very big conversation with the co candidates who are appearing. We are going to meet them tomorrow when the medicals are going to happen. So that's not a place to be. It's not a hanging out joint. So you see that you talk to them. You don't actually engage in a heavy conversation or comparison of what is happening inside or not. So I have already mentioned that see that you are an active listener, you have a structured response, you stay composed under the pressure, and you engage with panel with a good body language and eye contact. So your confidence will be what will decide your particular 30 minutes journey, and it has to be the best. Once you're done with your session, definitely once you come out of the building, you need to pause over there and remember, recall everything that went over there. Do your self-assessment, write your own feedbacks, and stay motivated and stay positive. If you have a mentor or a friend, you can call them, share the transcript, discuss with them, and yes, then you can look for what happens next. Now, I would also like to introduce about why this program, this session is enough for you to start off your preparation. But if you feel that you need personal counseling, one-to-one mentorship in your preparation, then I am your mentor, Abhilash, and I kind of try to help you to bring the best version out of you. And I help in each activity which we spoke, what needs to be done. That is, helping you to your decoding your DAF, under discussion, your body language, your talking terms, things which how the other person feels, your impressions, your own stories, how to convey. So we discuss, we engage, I hear you out, I understand your scenario and try to see that your whatever is your personality, you are able to be in the best form when you give the exam. And more about it, you can see the links in the description or in the elevate.ias.com website. Now, the program will have one-to-one mentoring sessions, DAF discussion, personality analysis, interview orientation, current affairs analysis, and yes, speak out session. There is a value to the program, and I put the value in front of you. This value is because while you may say compared to many other programs and have your own opinion, but I would want to say that you will pay only if your name appears in the final list. Or else I'm always there for you if you have chosen, you have discussed, because it's not necessary that whatever vibe should match with the mentor and your mentor should be able to understand you. Only then that you know sync happens between mentor and mentee. Hence, uh, there is nothing you do not lose out in while interacting. I will only urge you to pay only when your name comes in the final list. So you have all the details in the description to reach out to me. And thank you for being listening to this session. Now, in the next session of we are going to talk about you know these handout or the perspective matters. So I have summed up the years and activities around it. So I'll take a break of 5 minutes over here, and the description will have the handout. You can download the handout and go through it. And we are going to talk about in detail about this particular uh, current affair roundup for the year and how we approach to various things. Everything is in the link. So see you in 5 minutes after this break. For YouTube, a new stream will start, not this one. This will get closed. Thank you.